Beckham, Manchester United legend, has spoken out about the club, and he also mentions about the Glazers. So let's get right into the video and discuss and talk about what David Beckham has said about Manchester United. But before we get into today's video, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. So David Ornstein has come out with an article about an interview with David Beckham, and David Beckham has said some very interesting quotes, and I'm going to read them out to you now. And just breaking the news about how David Beckham feels about Manchester United after retirement. So starting off, he turns around and says that and talks about Erik Ten Hag, and it says Erik Ten Hag's arrival is a breath of fresh air. He had to make tough decisions, but he did it in the most elegant way and by rallying the supporters to its cause. Now, discussing about that, I'm going to mention that it probably means about like situations like the Cristiano Ronaldo situation and more. Like Erik Ten Hag has come in, and David Beckham's spot on there. Erik Ten Hag's arrival is a breath of fresh air, and that's literally the best way of describing it. And with the situations that Erik Ten Hag has had to deal with the ownership, with the process of the sale, like I said, the Cristiano Ronaldo situation, Erik Ten Hag has done very, very well for his very first season for Manchester United, and that's what David Beckham's getting at here. And I honestly believe that that is a spot-on way to describe Erik Ten Hag. His arrival is a breath of fresh air, and David Beckham is spot on with that quote. And he also goes on to say that the club does need investment, whether it's the training facility, stadium, on the field. These kinds of big things need to be made, and changes do need to happen, especially when you see the likes of Man City and what they're doing. Again, David Beckham, spot on here. Since that Cristiano Ronaldo situation, and David Beckham is actually, I believe, only the third Manchester United legend to actually speak out about the club after retirement. You've got Gary Neville and you've got Rio Ferdinand, but to my knowledge, there's not really been many other United legends that have actually spoken out about the club. You've got Wayne Rooney, but he's also defended the Glazers in the past. But then you've got David Beckham here, who's saying what needs to be said, where the fact that United, we need investment, whether it is the training facility, whether it's the stadium because it's fallen apart, or on the field, because United, yes, we're now starting to get an established starting 11 with Erik Ten Hag. And obviously he sees the progress. He wants Rasmus Højlund, he wants Amrabat, and definitely wants players like that are much more higher quality to improve our squad. And that's what David Beckham's talking about here when he's saying about the investment on the field is also needed. Because Erik Ten Hag is, we've already said it, that he could have already signed 2 or 3 more players in his career at Manchester United already if it wasn't for United's negotiation skills. The reason why we overpay for players so much is that we're negotiating so long, and as the transfer window progresses, these teams are then having to look for their ideal replacements, but they're not getting the funds to replace that player that might be getting bought by Manchester United. United need to be like Man City. Boom, here's the offer, will you take it? Okay, you're about 10 million, can we negotiate? Just we'll get a bit more money or whatever. And that's what United need to be doing. We can't be like, right, we're in talks with Rasmus Højlund for 2 weeks. Personal terms are agreed after a week. And now we're nearly a month into the Rasmus Højlund saga. It feels like the Frankie de Jong situation last season, but Rasmus Højlund will be a Manchester United player. I do believe that. But the negotiation skills with the Rasmus Højlund deal is taking forever. And selling players is absolutely draining in the transfer window. It's an exciting time because you feel like, because you don't know who's going to be arriving at your club, you're getting new players, it's all exciting, but it's also draining being a Manchester United fan throughout the transfer window, because again, the sale for players is so slow, and the purchase of players is also really slow. But going on to back what David Beckham has said, he says, off the field, as a fan and ex-player, I just want it to be resolved. There has to be a decision, whoever is running your club. You want them to be passionate, be involved, make the right decisions, bring in the right players and invest in the club. Now, David Beckham there is saying that he's speaking as a fan and an ex-player. That's what I like, because for so long we had the likes of ex-players who would refuse to speak out about the club because they were in ties still with the Glazers. Like Sir Alex Ferguson, why has he never spoken out about the Glazers? Because he's still on their payroll. Sir Alex Ferguson still has a a foot in the door at the club almost. Obviously, he's not as involved, but he's still involved with the club Manchester United. And that's why I believe Sir Alex Ferguson has never spoken out about the Glazers, because the Glazers still run Manchester United. As soon as the Glazers go, you can imagine all these like people in the board, Sir Alex Ferguson, all these other ex-players are going to come out and say that it was the right decision and all that jazz. But David Beckham is being very brave here by talking openly now about why the Glazers need to go. But I'm going to read out the main quote in a second, and he continues to say that it hasn't been the greatest times for Manchester United on the field or off the field. Seeing Erik Ten Hag has come in is a breath of fresh air. He has had to do some tough decisions, and he's done it and got his fans on his side. Kind of similar to the quote we've already read out, but with David Beckham as well, the fact he's had to repeat that is what I believe it says it all. We've already discussed about Erik Ten Hag's impact on Manchester United. As we know, he's a methodical manager. He's absolutely incredible, and he's the right man to take Manchester United to the next level and make us this European giant again, and make us compete in Europe and challenge for the Premier League. Erik Ten Hag is the right man to do that, and what he's done in his first season, he set the standards, and God knows what he's going to do this season. I'm really looking forward to it. And David Beckham then goes on to say about the Glazers, because David Ornstein turned around and asked him, saying, do you think the Glazers need to go? And he turned around and said that, yes, I think so. I think it's purely because the fans want it. Once you lose the fans, especially at a club like Manchester United, it's hard to get them back. Now, with Beckham saying that, Glazers out. He supports the Glazers out fund. This is what I love to see, because David Beckham here is turning around and saying that once you lose the fans, you need to go. And that's it. It's happened with managers at Manchester United, and it's happened with the Glazers at Manchester United. And you know the quote, enough is enough. Green and gold till the club is sold. Manchester United want the Glazers out. And I love the fact that we're getting ex-players and ex-legends like David Beckham coming out and saying this. It's absolutely incredible to see. And David Beckham also goes on to say about Manchester United today. Luckily, we still have that Manchester United pull that existed when I was there. We want that back, and the sooner a decision on the ownership is made, the better. Again, David Beckham is really now pushing for the Glazers out movement, I believe. And once he started talking about it, I believe he's getting more and more open about how he really feels, which is what we want to see. And again, David Beckham is probably one of the last players I would have expected to talk about the Glazers, because he hardly speaks out about Manchester United. He attends the odd Manchester United game at Old Trafford here and there. But again, David Beckham doesn't really have that connection to Manchester United anymore. Obviously, he'll always be an amazing player. Fans love and adore him. But when you see like the likes of Gary Neville's involvement with Manchester United, or Rio Ferdinand's, obviously Rio Ferdinand and Gary Neville both have their podcasts, but David Beckham doesn't really speak out openly about Manchester United, and this is why it's amazing to see him speaking out. And he also says that we'll see what happens in the next few weeks or months. Hopefully a decision gets made, and I'm not involved in any way. If not, I'll be a Man United fan and just do what all the other fans are doing, turn up and watch our team. Now, he's not been very open there, because with that quote there, he's saying that I'll be a United fan and just doing what all the other fans are doing. Does that mean he's going to be attending a protest anytime soon? Does that mean he's just going to come to Old Trafford and watch the games? I'm not too sure. But again, like I said, David Beckham doesn't come to Old Trafford often, and when he does, he gets swarmed with so many fans. Can I get a picture? Can I get an autograph? All this stuff. Could you imagine if the United Glazers out movement, we had a protest, like the first game of the season against Wolves, and David Beckham's in that protest? That would be absolutely incredible. And then the final quote that David Beckham has come out and said that David Beckham was asked a question on the potential involvement with Manchester United's new ownership. And he turned around and said that I haven't been approached, and I suppose any involvement with Manchester United would mean the world to me going forward, but who knows? Now, David Ornstein, brilliant article and brilliant interview with David Beckham. But what I also want to say is that David Beckham here has just enlightened me. he has shown that he still cares about the club deeply. It would mean the world to him if he did get a job working for Manchester United, whether it's up above in the board office or any role. He still loves this club, and that's what I love. Obviously, came through our academy. We know the legend David Beckham, and I just love to see this interview and article because no doubt David Beckham cares about the club deeply. He wants the Glazers out like most Manchester United fans, and it means the world to him that Manchester United are now succeeding again under Erik Ten Hag. But anyway, that's been the video, an update on Glazers out for David Beckham. What do you think about David Beckham speaking out? Remember to leave a like and subscribe on the video if you are new. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Take care.